This is the Blue Boys podcast with your host Kai and our guest for today, Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing today, Kai?
I'm doing great. What'd you do today?
I didn't do very much. My grandma came over. We had some dinner, played some games. Not
Uh,
with my grandma, by myself, but uh,
Not with your
yeah,
grandma. Your grandma didn't play
no,
StarCraft with you.
unfortunately not.
Oh, that
I'm sure she
sucks.
would have loved it though.
Yeah, elderly people, man, they're some pretty damn good gamers.
They really are, dude.
We
Like,
don't give them enough credit.
honestly, I think my grandma could destroy anybody that's watching right now in a one-on-one on Rest.
I bet she could, and just do it savagely and dominating. I visited my grandparents today as well. Went down there, and my grandma, she gave me a graduation card she wrote for
Oh
me.
yeah, man.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. And I helped my grandpa with his boat. So yeah,
Ooh,
pretty cool.
what kind of boats you got?
A little Boston whaler. It's like this little speedboat. Fits
That's
like
nice.
4 people. Yeah, it's nice. It's pretty old though. Yeah. He was
When's it from?
huh?
Like, what year is it?
Like the
Or
80s.
oh, damn. Oh, I
Yep.
guess boats don't really break down as fast as cars, I
Oh,
guess.
it breaks
Well,
down.
there are a lot of old cars that are still going.
Yeah, it breaks down, from time to time. I've been out on the water when it's stalled. It's not a fun
Oh, wow.
experience having to row back to
Yeah,
shore.
automobile issues are not a good time, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
Yesterday, I
sucks.
was on my way out to Northport going to a 4th of July party,
Yeah.
and we were about exit 63 or 62, I believe, on the Sunrise.
Yeah.
And the car broke down. It just stopped.
Oh.
So we pulled off onto the service road, and we stopped the car, and then it wouldn't start up again. We were sitting in the car for a solid 30 minutes waiting for the tow truck to come and get us, and the lights just started flickering on and off, and it was
Shoot.
like, we've got no clue what's wrong with the thing now. It's just busted.
Sounds like battery issues.
See, that's what I thought. So we went to go and try and jump the battery. We have like this little mobile battery jumper thing, and the battery is fine.
Oh, the
And
battery's
so,
fine now.
yeah, the battery was fine the whole time. The battery's still like
Wh-
charged and everything, as far
What
as I'm
about the
aware.
alternator?
See, that's what I was thinking it was. I don't really know much about cars, but I googled what makes a car like not like have power problems, and the first thing that came up was an alternator, and then that's also one of the things that can cause it just kind of like stop driving while it's driving. So that's what I think it is. My
Shoot.
dad thinks it's a timing belt in the engine, but
A timer built in the engine? Like a
uh,
shut-off point?
I don't know. I guess so.
Like on an iPhone? When was this car made exactly? Because I doubt that's true.
Uh, I think it's like 2008.
Oh, there's no way they put a timer in there. That's something they would put in new cars. If they
Yeah, I
even
don't
do
know
that
if
shit.
it's. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's completely gone. We had to get it towed back.
Man, you gotta get that thing serviced. Run down to
Yes, it's long overdue though.
oof. That's the thing with cars. Gotta service them. Gotta keep up on
Got
the
it.
oil, gotta keep up on everything. You gotta do regular checks on those cars every 3 months, man. It's important because you do
Yeah, man,
not
that's
want a
another
car breaking
thing.
down on you.
The oil. My dad, he thinks that he's a master of cars, and he runs the oil like an extra 2,000 miles because he thinks that the new types of oil are have more mileage to them.
I don't
So
I don't know if that's true.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you can
On
do
the
it overdue,
dashboard, it
but
said
it screws up
change.
your engine.
Yeah, on the dashboard, it said change oil negative 999 miles, and it caps out at 999.
Ooh. Oh. Sounds like you got some real issues, in the
Yeah.
automotive. Hey, you ever thought about getting a motorcycle license?
Uh, no, not really. I've never really been that big into motorcycles.
Never
Do
never
you
saw
need
your
one to like? have it like a dirt bike or anything, or does that like? I'd assume that's different.
I don't know. I don't know if you need a license to drive a dirt bike because dirt bikes you're not supposed to drive them on the road anyway. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you need a license. You probably need a driver's license, but I don't know if you need a separate
yeah.
like
I don't know.
dirt
That's
biker's license or even a motorcycle. I don't think you do though. I don't think you do.
yeah. Because I don't know. I was thinking about getting a dirt bike for a while, but no, I've never actually thought about getting like an actual motorcycle.
Dirt bikes are cool, but yeah, you can't really ride them on the road. Well, you're not
Yeah,
supposed
that
to. People do it.
not
One
many
thing
places
they
to ride
really
them
don't
out here
like,
either.
yeah. Well, a lot of people drive them in the woods, but you're also not allowed to do that either. So yeah.
Really?
Yep.
You have to go to like a pre-made like track kind of thing. I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Trail.
Uh, yeah. There's one like kind of close to me. I think I'm not sure if it's like an official one. It definitely is not. It's just like some little like dirt mountains and like some woods just off the road. I've seen people in there a few times, but it's like really small.
A little secluded. Hey,
Yeah, not
you ever see those guys who ride dirt bikes and motorcycles and ATVs up into the city?
no,
You never seen that as a kid?
I
Uh,
don't think so, no.
You ever like been in the car going to the city? A bunch of bikers just speed by.
Oh, like a bike, like a thing of bikers? Yeah, I've seen.
No,
Oh, yeah.
not like gangs, but like black dudes and stuff. It's a big thing.
No, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Phew. I used to see it all the time. Guys in like motorcycles like doing wheelies and like on the way into the city, like into like Brooklyn,
Yeah, no, I don't know. I
Queens.
haven't really gone into the city that much.
Really? Come on, man. Don't you live on Long Island? You live on Long Island. Come
Well,
on,
yeah,
dog.
I don't know. I've just never really been a big fan of the city. I don't like the mass amounts of people, especially now with all the what's going on with the coronavirus and all that.
Yeah, that is an issue. But back to biker gangs. Well, not bikers, but bikers. Have you ever heard of the biker gangs in Japan? The Bosuzoku.
No, I haven't heard of that either.
Well, Japan, there used to be it used to be a big thing. It's not really a thing anymore. The Japanese police really kind of squashed them. But back in the 90s, 80s, and early 2000s, biker gangs in Japan used to be really big, like really big. And it's not like when you think of biker gangs in America, think a bunch of old white dudes on Harley Davidsons, the leather jackets rolling down the street and shit.
Yeah,
Huge pack. But in Japan, the Bosuzoku are comprised of like mainly like older high school kids, 17, 16, 18, on like real tricked out like JDM road bikes, you know,
yeah,
and they wear real fancy jackets and overalls, and they beat the ever living crap out of people.
yeah. I don't
Like
know. I'm surprised I've never heard of that.
it used to be a really big thing. Like in the 90s, there used to be like tens of thousands of Bosuzoku gangs.
Well, was it
All
as big as like the Yakuza and all that? I'm
well,
assuming not.
it was like, well, the thing is, they're all really young kids. It wasn't like an
Yeah,
organized criminal element. It was like fighting gangs. The
yeah,
only thing the Bosuzoku really ever did was trick out their motorcycles, which is they're known worldwide for, like having pimped out motorcycles and cars, and like really nice embroidered jackets, and beating the shit out of people. You know, they didn't really do
yeah.
anything else. I mean, they would rob stores all the time, but only to get money to pimp out their cars and bikes. So yeah, it wasn't
Oh,
like
that's
a lot of them say like they didn't do drugs or drink at all because they couldn't afford it and because they were spending all their money on their motorcycles. But yeah, they mostly lived to like fight and ride. But yeah, they used
yeah,
to in the middle of the night ride their bikes all around town. And one thing about the Bosuzoku is they used to modify their bikes exhaust So when they revved it, it was really fucking loud, and that's what there was. That was their favorite thing, revving their engines really fucking loud in residential areas, right?
Yeah,
And rolling down the street real freaking slow. They loved holding up
yeah,
traffic. But
yeah. I
yeah,
had a friend like a few years back, I think in like freshman year of high school, maybe sophomore,
yeah,
and he had like his own little dirt bike and he worked on it a lot. And I remember one day I went over there and he was like making the exhaust. I think he made it really small so it was really loud, or he took it off or something like that. And that thing was so loud.
yeah. Whew. You should look up some Bosuzoku videos. Vice did a really good
Okay.
documentary about it, Bosuzoku. But the thing is, um, back to the Yakuza, the Bosuzoku. It was weird because there was like an age limit. Like you couldn't be like yay old, right? Like by the
Yeah.
time like they were like college age or like in their like 20s, like you're not really supposed to be around. You're either a leader or you're gone, right? And they would have like
Yeah.
retirement ceremonies, and you either became like a functioning member of society, right? Go out and get a job, or you join the Yakuza. It was like either or, right? It was very organized, even though it was a bunch of kids beating the crap out of people in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Very organized as all things in Japan are, you know. But yeah,
Yeah. It's
it was
Japan's culture is kind of crazy. They always like it's so like organized so many like a lot of the time.
yeah, like everything's so polite. There's rules to
Yeah.
everything. Like that's the thing with the Yakuza. Like even though we think of the Yakuza as like criminals, in Japan, everyone's like, oh, they're criminals, they're bad guys. But what people don't realize is the Yakuza like control a lot of aspects of Japanese society, and like without the Yakuza, all sorts of shit would go wrong, because the Yakuza pretty much control the construction industry in Japan, as well as hiring for nuclear plants and stuff, and a
Oh
lot
wow,
of
really?
yeah, and a lot of things when it comes to like disaster relief. The Yakuza are like the first on the scene.
Oh wow.
They did that a lot after the tsunami, earthquake, and like Fukushima. They were first on the scene handing out like money and shit,
Wow.
big PR
That's
stunts. But yeah, the Yakuza, because you're not illegal. Like the Yakuza itself isn't illegal. It's the things they do. You can
yeah.
have a Yakuza group, right? I mean, they do. They used to have offices and stuff, right? You know,
I
the
think that I thought they still do.
now I'm thinking recent years, because the Japanese police in the last 5 years have really cracked down on the Yakuza. That's what I've
Oh
heard.
wow.
They've really cracked down on the Yakuza. And it's like becoming harder and harder to like be a Yakuza out in the open, because they're so sanctioned by the government, right? The
Yeah.
government's like, fuck the Yakuza. But yeah, when the Japanese police decide to do something about you, it's an issue. Another thing that happened a few years ago though is the biggest Yakuza family in Japan, the fuck, the Yamaguchi Gumi, right?
Mhm.
They split, right, into a bunch of little factions, right? They split up, so that caused a lot of issues. But yeah,
How come?
well, it was because it's like a whole family, right? But
Yeah.
so there's like the big family, the Yamaguchi Gumi, and then there's all the little organizations that are in it, right? And once it
Uh-huh.
splits, they'll start fighting each other, right, for territory and stuff,
Yeah.
because they're not like being controlled anymore by a larger organization, umbrella organization. So that caused a
Hmm.
lot of issues, like people were getting assassinated. But the thing is, with the Japanese police cracking down on the Yakuza, it's going to be harder for them as a group to do like more like business stuff, like legitimate business, because the Yakuza do a lot of legitimate business alongside their crime, right?
Yeah.
They pretty much control all crime in Japan. And if they aren't as powerful, right? There's going to be more crime in Japan, because the way the Yakuza work is the Yakuza control an area, and inside that area, all the crime that's happening, that's the Yakuza. You can't,
Yeah.
they don't, the Yakuza look down upon people who like break into houses and like rob people on the street. You wouldn't really do well as a petty criminal
Yeah.
without like the backing from the yakuza. But if the yakuza are forced to like do less legitimate business, they're gonna do a lot more violent crime, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
more illegal
definitely.
stuff. So I'm worried that's gonna be a thing. Because if the government keeps putting pressure on the yakuza aren't going to be like the neat organization that they are. They're going to be more like the American Italian mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a lot of violent stuff. Like in the '90s, it was like
Yeah.
insane. In I forget what city, but the yakuza used to like go out and like have gun battles in the streets. But yeah, the
Yeah,
yakuza
it
are
definitely
insane.
sounds like a fine line that the government is walking on to try and keep things stable
It's
with
weird
that.
because it's like the government in Japan just decides to do things when it comes to the police. It's like because that's what they did with the Bosuzoku for a long time. They just were like, what are we supposed to do about that? It's not my problem. But then all of a sudden they were like, you know what? No more Bosuzoku. Fuck all you guys. It's over, right? And then they slapped
Yeah.
all these ridiculous laws that made it pretty much impossible to be a Bosuzoku without doing something illegal. Because in Japan, you can't modify bikes without some goofy shit. You can't modify bikes. You can't dress a certain way. They put laws in place against like because Bosuzoku gangs they used to have uniforms,
Yeah.
like very fancy uniforms, like jumpsuits with the group on the back embroidered. They made it hard for people to like because they had to go out and get that embroidery work done, so they made it hard for people to do that. They like put restrictions on like gatherings at night, all this goofy shit. But yeah,
Wow.
it made it tough to be a Bosuzoku. But the Bosuzoku were doing some pretty crazy shit, like dragging people behind cars and throwing them off roads and kidnapping them and shit. Like
Yeah, it
they
sounds like
killed each other all
they're
the
more of
time.
like
But
it sounds kind of like they would be like the kind of petty criminals that the Yakuza would look down on.
no, but the thing is, the Yakuza saw those guys and they were like, this is perfect because they would recruit them, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of Bosuzoku guys would try to make marks so they could get in good with the Yakuza and be like underlings.
Yeah.
Because like people don't really like it's not like confirmed, but like a lot of people think that like a lot of Bosuzoku gangs, especially in like metropolitan areas, were getting money and shit from the Yakuza at points.
Oh.
Because when you look at it, these aren't like old dudes. Like these aren't like people with like money at all. These are like young ass kids
Yeah, like
with like
fresh out of high school or college or
like
not
in
even
high school, not
college.
even like these are
Yeah.
like 16, 17-year-old guys with the bikes, with the cars, all this shit. And it's like you're kind of wondering, well, how did they get all this stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's they think the Yakuza were behind some of it. Um, but enough about the Yakuza. Let's come into like some more Western problems. What do you think about this whole? Wait, let me get your opinions on Black Lives Matter, huh? What do you think about the Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, I think it's definitely a good movement. I think it's something that was, it's been a long time coming, definitely. It's I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like, I used to be kind of like neutral, more towards like neutral, not on either side. But like the more that I see in the media and all that, like, it's really starting to like, bring me over. And it's like it's crazy, man. Like all the stuff that I've been seeing, like I don't know. It's just
It's crazy, man.
yeah, it really is.
All them riots and stuff. But my problem with Black Lives Matter is whatever happened to the Panthers, man? Black Lives Matter is not a name for a organization. Come on.
Yeah,
We already had an organization, Black Panthers, cool name, cool outfits, cool shit, right?
yeah,
Chads. Now with Black Lives Matter, that doesn't roll off the tongue. That's
Do you
just a
think maybe?
statement.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of like a slogan than like an actual
Yeah,
name of like an organization or anything.
but it is. I know there's organized elements,
Yeah, there's
but
definitely
it's
organized
really a
elements
bad
of it.
name. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if it was the Black Panthers and their slogan was Black Lives Matter instead of Black Power, I'd be like, I'd be
Yeah, that'd
down
make a
with
lot
that.
more sense.
But yeah, Black Lives Matter is not a good. Um, I mean, unless they abbreviate it. I'd be
Yeah.
down with BLM, but even still, BLM doesn't really roll off the tongue. Not like something like IRA. IRA rolls off the tongue, right? I can get behind IRA. For one viewing audience, I do not support the actions of the Irish Republican Army in any way. I think they have a better acronym. But damn, the IRA, that's another crazy group, man. The IRA are crazy.
Yeah.
And people don't even like think about it anymore. But like people never really think about it in America, but like the IRA was a full on powerful terrorist group. Still is a pretty like big terrorist group in Europe. But like these guys controlled whole areas of Northern Ireland, and they were getting weapons. Ever tell you this? The IRA were getting weapons from Libya, from Gaddafi, you know?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's
They were getting
wow.
RPGs, AKs, and literal missiles. They got a
And all of this
shipment
was
of
happening in
missiles.
Northern Ireland.
All this was happening in Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Oh
It's
my
nuts.
god. When it's still going on, but like when did it start?
Well, the troubles really started in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
With Bloody Sunday and the Battle of the Bogside. But it really got bad in the 70s and 80s. Like Northern Ireland was a literal war zone, and it only really like slowed down in the 90s and 2000s with the Good Good Friday Accords.
Yeah.
But it was really bad. It's still really bad, the sectarian violence, and I think it'll get worse with Brexit and the hard border they're going to put up. They better not put up a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, because that's just going to piss off all the Republicans.
Yeah.
And to the audience, Republicans in Ireland and Republicans in America are not at all the same thing. Republicans in Ireland support a unified Irish republic. Republicans in America don't know what a republic is. That's a good joke.
It was.
But the IRA is no laughing matter. Jesus Christ. It's not good to laugh at your own jokes, but the IRA, no laughing matter, man. Those guys are serious.
Yeah, man, that does not sound like something I would want to mess with.
Yeah, man.
It's
But the
like,
IRA, yeah, is still around, man. Northern Ireland. And,
man, it's crazy because of all that's happening. But then, like, you probably could go out and ask people. Like if you think about Ireland, what are like the first things that come to your mind? But I don't think that would really come up much with many people.
potatoes. But, like,
I
the
think,
thing is,
like,
it's not really Ireland's problem, even though, it focuses around the island of Ireland. Like the Republic of Ireland, the IRA and all that, the troubles are not an issue.
yeah,
There's nothing happening in Ireland itself. People in Ireland don't give a fuck. People don't care in Ireland itself. The only people who care are people along the border, because
yeah,
the IRA would run across the border, train shit in Ireland, and then go back. It's and people in Northern Ireland. Like this is a Northern Irish issue, and in
yeah.
England, because the IRA would go into like London and blow up shit, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
large truck bombs and stuff. And they were doing that for a while. But yeah,
That's kind of already an issue going on in England. Not even
yeah.
like just from the IRA. It's like it's
Well, they
a
don't really do it anymore, but like yeah, definitely like
or at least in more recent years it
jihadists,
has
yeah,
been. Yeah.
jihadist attacks. But yeah. The jihadists, man, they weren't the original terrorists in England. Those were Irishmen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like, dude, even like the Irish, I don't remember when it was. Not really that good with Irish history, but I know that, like, the um, what was the Catholics and I think
yeah, it's Catholics and
Lutherans, right?
Protestants.
Yeah, Catholics and Protestants, they were having like a full-on war at one point.
Well, that's the troubles, man. Catholics versus Protestants. It's never ending, man. Still happening.
Yeah,
That's the whole thing. It's there's the whole Irish struggle. We're gonna bring back the country. It's gonna be united. But then there's the sectarian violence because people in Northern Ireland, Protestants and Catholics fucking hate each other. Their
yeah,
neighborhoods are completely separated off from one another with the peace walls. They stuck up giant ass walls between the communities and blocked them off. It's like Gaza. There's
yeah.
a lot of actually connections between the the guy like Hezbollah. Who is it in Palestine? Is it Hamas or Hezbollah?
Let me
I
check. I
think
can check that
Hezbollah is
for you real
Lebanon
quick.
and Hamas is Palestine. I think it's Hamas. Can you look that up for me?
Palestine. You're talking about the presidents, right?
I'm talking about like the main groups, like terrorist groups. I think it's Hamas in Palestine. Who's the main jihadist faction in Palestine?
Palestine. Uh, let's see. Palestine groups have been involved in politically motivated violence, include the Palestine Liberation Organization, Fatah, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, Popular
What's
Front for the Liberation of Palestine
what's
General
the armed
Command.
wing?
Um, armed.
Because always with those groups, there's a political
Uh,
arm
I'll
in
see. I
there.
think it's the Fatah. It's talking here about a armed resistance against Israel, but that's yeah.
Well,
Wait, no,
anyway.
that was in the 50s.
We'll go. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, the guys in Palestine, they really like see like a connection with the Irish in
Yeah.
Northern Ireland
Oh
because
yeah, the Hamas as well. I just found that.
yeah, like Hamas, they also used to fund the IRA. Just
Really?
yeah, there's a lot of connections there. Like there's a lot of art in That's the thing in Northern Ireland. You'll see like a lot of murals about the
Hmm.
troubles, and there's a lot of arts like Palestine, Ireland, same struggle because it pretty much is, because the
Yeah.
Palestinians over in Israel, Palestine, they're sectioned off into the communities and shit by the Israelis. Over in Ireland, Northern Ireland, it's the Irish sectioned off from the Protestants. But the thing
Yeah.
is, it's not really about nowadays. It's not really about like civil rights. Like back in the '60s and '70s, they just used to treat like the Irish in Northern Ireland like shit, right? Because the
Yeah.
Protestants were English, so they had the favor with the English, and England doesn't really like Irish that much anyway. The famines and all that
Yeah.
crap and Easter risings. But nowadays that's not really a factor. It's just Protestants and Catholics fucking hate each other, and they've been hating each other for ages in Northern
Yeah.
Ireland, especially. But the Protestants, man, they're just as bad as the IRA. It's not like the IRA's wombo comboing the Protestants, man. The Protestants will kill you too.
Yeah.
I
My
forget.
my great grandfather, he lived in Ireland,
Yeah,
and his whole farm got burnt down. I believe by the Protestants.
oy vey. See, that's the type of shit. No, damn
Yeah.
Protestants burning down his farm. What did he grow on that farm?
I'm
Potatoes.
not sure what he grew. I'd assume potatoes, yeah, but I'm
Damn.
not
No
entirely
wonder he
sure.
moved to America. A famine and the farm gets burned down. Man, that's a bitch.
Yeah.
Speaking of farms and potatoes, what's your thoughts on vegetables?
I mean, it really depends on the vegetable. I'm a fan of broccoli. I like corn. Um, I don't know what any other ones are really coming to my head right now, but it really depends on the vegetable. Not too big a fan of tomatoes or lettuce. Definitely
Well,
not.
tomatoes aren't really a vegetable, as
Well,
we all
actually, yeah,
know.
they're a
It's a
fruit.
fruit. But yeah, I think the problem with America is we have a limited amount of vegetables. We need to bring in more vegetables, dog. Because while I was in cooking class, right, we learned about vegetables, and there's so many fucking vegetables that I've never heard of, and like so many different types of leafy greens, and I'm just used to like I got my lettuce, I got my kale, I got my spinach, and maybe some Swiss chard on the side. It's like it's
Yeah,
very limited, right? Like I can only name so many vegetables, but there's so many. I think if Americans widened their diet when it came to vegetables and really learned how to like cook more vegetables, I think they'd be a little more healthy because vegetables, man, they're great, you know, because they're
yeah,
full of vitamins.
yeah. As you were talking about that, I just googled like a list of like random vegetables, and there are so many on this. Like I'm just scrolling through here. I've never heard of a lot of these.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They're growing so many vegetables across the world. But yeah, vegetables very good for you. Yeah, if
Yeah,
people ate more vegetables. But yeah,
but I think my favorite vegetable would probably have to be sweet potatoes.
yeah, I like sweet potatoes. I don't really like sweet potato fries. They kind of fucking suck. But
Oh,
like,
dude, I
yeah,
love them. They're so good.
I don't really know what my favorite vegetable would be. Let me think. I like kale. Um, I like onions. The onions are good in a lot of
Yeah,
things. Um, hmm, I'm thinking here. What's a good fucking vegetable? I guess I'm gonna like chill at like kale. Accept it.
okay.
Spinach, good one.
Yeah, spinach is a good one.
Spinach is good.
Artichokes. If you've
Artichokes
ever
are
had
good.
like that spinach artichoke stuff from like Fridays,
Oh no, never. I don't
dude,
eat my
it's
vegetables from Fridays. That's one
well, I
thing.
mean,
That's,
they're still good.
I bet they're still
That's what
good.
I'm just
Yeah.
getting at here.
I don't know. Fridays. The last time I went to Friday, I was kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah,
It was kind of like, this isn't the greatest. It
yeah. I
wasn't
think the
that
last
bad,
time
but
I was there was like just after. I remember I went to go see Aquaman, and then we went to Fridays after, and
uh,
it was underwhelming, to say
Aquaman
the
was. I
least.
liked Aquaman. That was a good
Yeah,
movie.
Aquaman was good, but
Pretty good
Fridays was
movie.
definitely a bit underwhelming.
Yeah. Jason Momoa. That's his name. Aquaman, the new
Uh,
Aquaman,
Let me see.
the Polynesian dude, Jason Momoa, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Jason Momoa. He's from Hawaii. Oh, Hawaii is a cool place. The islands.
yeah,
Hawaii. It's got a crazy history because Hawaii used to be a country, an empire,
yeah.
until America showed up. The four nations lived in peace until the Fire Nation, aka America, attacked. You know, but that's crazy. Hawaii used to be its
Yeah.
own country. They had their own line of monarchs. They had international relations. They were recognized. They had their own flag, army, everything. And then
Wow.
wombo comboed, you're a state now, eat dick. And they just like deposed the monarchy. People don't even talk about that. Hawaii used to be a freaking country, man, that we pretty much invaded and annexed.
Yeah.
And now it's like a bunch of sweaty tourists. Like, wow, it's so pretty.
I mean, it really is. It's a beautiful place, but
Very beautiful. I mean, uh, one thing about Hawaii they don't talk about, the Hawaiian homeless rate is ridiculous. Like,
oh,
there's
really?
so many homeless people in Hawaii. It's crazy.
Wow.
Just think about it. You can live outside all year in Hawaii, you know. You're
Yeah.
never gonna be like, oh shit, it's fucking snowing. But like, yeah, you can just chill out, and it's a tropical island. I mean, it's not like food's that hard to get
Yeah.
in Hawaii. I mean, my family, my mom comes from a tropical island, Grenada, and there's food, like plants, like
Yeah.
crops everywhere. I don't think you could starve to death in Grenada just because of how many like fruits and vegetables are just strewn across the island.
Well, is the homelessness rate that high because like people are like it's in poverty, or is it because people just choose that they can live off the land like that?
No, it's like it's because like most homeless people in Hawaii are Hawaiian natives, you know,
Yeah.
and it must be a mixture of like just poverty and drug abuse because that's a big thing on reservations, you know, because damn, people on reservations are dirt poor. The government does not give a fuck about them, right? The government has not tried to help the Native Americans, which is BS. They really
Yeah.
need to help them. They just gave them. They didn't even give them the land. They forced them on the land, and then didn't give them shit. That's the real problem. Government has failed the native population. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's very also very depressing living on a reservation, and you know, you got the whole history behind it. You know, of all those defeats and genocide. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of makes sense why drug abuse would be a big problem among native communities.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
so I can see that being a factor.
isn't or well, I guess alcoholism is kind of a form of drug abuse, but isn't that also a big issue?
Well, yeah, yeah, it goes into like the whole alcoholism is, well, yeah, it's pretty much in there. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big thing, alcoholism.
And that goes back for like quite a while as far as I'm aware. Back to like when the Americas first became a thing.
Yeah,
Drinking with the Indians, or not the Indians, the natives
to yeet
was
their
a
land.
yeah.
It's the oldest trick in the white man's book.
That and flu blankets.
Hit them with the flu blankets, boys. Oh, one thing people don't realize about the Native Americans is they didn't always have horses, right?
Yeah.
People don't realize that. They think they think of the Native Americans, they think of the Plains Indians, they think of the horses and them being master horsemen. They were master horsemen, but they had only been master horsemen for like 200 years before colonists came to like main North
Yep.
America, right?
Yeah.
Because horses were brought to the Americas by the Spanish in
Yeah.
the 1600s, right? 15, 1600s. They come over, they bring horses, some of them get loose, and they breed like crazy in the Great Plains, right? Horses aren't native to
Yeah.
America. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Horses are native to America, but they haven't been native to America for a very long time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, horses started in the Americas, went over to Europe, and never looked back.
Yeah.
A lot of. Huh?
I was watching this YouTube video the other day. And it wasn't. It didn't have anything to do with like the horses. Like it's like the main part of it. It was about like some guys and they were moving a house across a beach for some reason. But they were talking about how like they had to watch out for all the horses because there was like for years there was been like a big group of horses that they had like DNA testing done on them and they were descendants of Spanish Mustangs
Yep.
and they've just been roaming around like since then.
But yeah, horses, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, my cousin used to do horse racing as well.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if I don't think she does it anymore, but I know that she used to. She used to have like 5 horses.
Did she like race on the horses, or was she a jockey, or did she just own them?
Oh yeah, no, she just owned them. She wasn't a jockey.
Oh, she's not. Because I was about to say, is she really short? Because like all jockeys are like midgets.
Yeah. I don't remember. I haven't seen her in ages. It's been so long. But yeah, she just owned the horses, she raised them,
Oh,
and
that's
then
cool.
they were racehorses.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool racehorses. Uh, man, the Spanish used to control a lot of the world.
Yeah.
Spanish Empire was huge, and then Britain came in. And they were like, "Pow!" Eat dick, Spanish Armada. And then they were like, no, my will the power. And they were destroyed. But I don't know. No, actually, no, it wasn't the Spanish. It was the Portuguese who were the first Europeans to encounter Japan. And
That's interesting.
yeah, they had like a whole little relationship for a while until the Japanese kicked them out and all the other Europeans except the Dutch. But yeah, they had a good long run, you know.
Yeah.
They had this little streak, little 100 years, and then like Japan was like, "Ha, Europeans, that's stupid," and then they kicked them all out or killed them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Japan didn't, and then Europe and Japan didn't see any Europeans until Commodore Perry and the American fleet show rolled up, and they're like, "Open up the country, open it up. We want to trade. What's good?" But yeah, the thing with the Portuguese, they showed the Japanese two things: guns and Christianity. Guns caught on. Christianity really didn't. I mean, it caught on for a bit, but then the Japanese kind of got rid of that too,
Yeah.
which is nuts because the Japanese, right? Um, this was a big thing in Nagasaki, I think. Yeah, Nagasaki, I believe. There was a huge Christian community, like hundreds, thousands of Christians, right? But when Japan like got the new laws about foreigners and Christianity, they banned the practice completely. And then all these Christians are like, they're like, well, what the fuck? That's my religion. So a lot of them went underground or got killed. But yeah, a lot of them went underground, and they stayed underground, kind of like the Jewish people, you know,
Yeah.
like oppressed. But yeah, they were oppressed, and they stayed underground for like 200 years. And then the Japanese government, I think, during the Meiji Restoration, they were like, "Well, okay, we're not banning Christianity anymore. All you Christians can come out." And like some 200,000 Christians were like, "Oh, we're Christian." And it's like people were all like, "What the fuck? Where'd you people come from?" But yeah, the Christian population hasn't really gotten bigger from there. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, another Asian group of people who happen to be a lot of them Christians. Tongans, Polynesian people, right, from Tonga,
Yeah.
in Utah, right?
Hmm.
The like most people are proud of. Most people are Mormons, right? They're Mormons, right? Utah
Yeah.
Mormons, polygamy. Like the larger than like African. There are more Polynesian people in Utah than African Americans. So they're like the second largest like minority, right? They're like the
Hmm.
biggest minority. A lot of Tongan people are Mormons as well, which I always thought was funny. Like, oh, where you get all these Tongan Mormons? I wonder where that story came from. Must have been some one Mormon guy who went to Tonga and converted the populace. Like, yo,
Yeah.
you guys like polygamy and Jesus, right? And they're like, hell yeah, we like polygamy, and I can get behind this Jesus fella too. But yeah, I saw that on Drug Inc. because they were talking about like the guy's like, these guys are Crips, but in Utah, Crips aren't black. They're Tongan. And I saw all these Tongan dudes. It's like, yeah, we're fucking Crips, dog, and we're Mormons. So we go to church on Sunday. And the like leader of their group, they're like set. He was like, yeah, the only time I pretty much see my family is like when I go to church. But yeah, I'm like, that's hilarious. We got these
That's
church
amazing.
going Tongan Mormons. Only in Utah can this exist. And they were like selling crystal meth. It was great. And I'm like, yes, true men of God go to church on Sunday, every Sunday, and sell crystal meth. It just proves to it just proves to you. Doesn't matter what you do as a Christian, dog, as long as you come to church and accept Jesus, you all right. But that's
Oh, that's
always what they
amazing.
say in church, man. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you accept Jesus. I'm like sitting there like, I don't know, dog. I don't think you can just do whatever. There's rules, man. But I guess
Yeah,
they're just trying to get more people.
yeah, that's crazy. Going to church on Sunday, selling meth on Monday.
It's a business, man. It's never ending.
You know, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works. You got to get that that donation money somehow, man.
Exactly.
Got no job, man. How am I supposed to give the tides? How am I supposed to give the tides if I ain't got no money? Gotta start selling some rock.
Yeah.
Gotta start selling some rock. But
The bread is his body, the wine is his blood, and the meth is his teeth.
jeez. Uh, uh, do Mormons? Mormons are fine. I just don't like how they're dressed. I don't like how they dress so neatly all the time. And I don't support polygamy either. What the fuck is that? Polygamy's bad. I know all not all Mormons are like polygamists. I know like most of them aren't. But like that's stupid.
Yeah.
Another thing, man, I'm just railing on Mormons here. Mormons are fine. It's just such a goofy fucking religion to me because it's a parody of the Bible, the Book of Mormon. It's like
Oh
a
my
fan
god.
fiction, dog. Like Jacinto explained it to me once. He was like, in the Book of Mormon, they are in the Americas, right? It's the Native fucking Americans, and Jesus shows up and teaches them Christianity. I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Because one, I know no Native Americans knew anything about Jesus before Europeans got here.
Oh my god.
But like, and then there's all these like goofy rules about Mormon heaven. It's like you can get them more wives because you can bone in heaven if you're a Mormon. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Who
Yeah.
wrote this? But like, yeah, I feel like back in the day, because like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons are all kind of like related.
Mhm.
That was always my problem with Christianity. There's so many like little sects. Like, come on, dog. Can't we have it more uniform? And it's not even like close to each other what they freaking believe. It's like I take what's like the dominant Christian group? I don't even know. I take a Protestant. He ain't believing the same thing as a Mormon. But yeah,
Yeah.
crazy world we live in, man. Crazy.
It's so much more crazy stuff has been going on lately. It's just so crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like the world was already crazy, and it's like they chucked gasoline on the fire. And it's not like we have a lot of great leaders helping us out in these dire times. I mean, other countries are pretty like not that like bad, but our leader, man, Trump's kind of
Yeah.
like wombo comboing us here. He's not the greatest leader. Not that
Yeah.
great. COVID. Well, we're kind of running out of time here, Kevin. At the end of the podcast, we got a few seconds. Who do you think I should get on next? One, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it, yes.
Oh, that's good. I'm
It's
glad
a
you
great
enjoyed
time.
it. Glad you were on. You know, had
Yeah, I'm
fun
glad you
having you
had
on.
me, thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you. Real
Thank
great
you.
conversation. Um, just a real quick, who do you think I should have on next?
Who have you already had on? I know you had Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's pretty much it. This is the second episode.
Okay. I think maybe Jack or Jordan would be a good addition next.
Yeah, yeah. Well, It was fun having you. I'll make sure to check out those recommendations and see you.
Oh yeah. Talk to you later.